All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. This is Byron Lazine, and I'm super pumped because today I've got a Tom Ferry Team Plus, right?
Team Plus.
Team Plus coaching client, just like myself. DJ and I go back probably, I think the first time we hung out was here in Vegas a few years ago, maybe at a summit or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And DJ DellaSala's, welcome to the podcast. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about where you're from, market you're in, how'd you get into real estate, your whole story getting into real estate.
Cool. Thanks for having me. So I been in the business since 2006. We live in St. Augustine. I also have an office 30 minutes north of us in Jacksonville. That's a team office. I own an independent brokerage. So mainly focused on team building. I do have another team within my brokerage and a few single agents that have been with me a long time. So it's just, been great, really growing our market share in both markets and just crushing it.
You were just on Tom Ferry's podcast. So for anyone that didn't catch that podcast, I want you to, I thought it was really impactful when you started talking about, I got into the business in 2006, and we all know what happened after 2006. Can you share a little bit about how it was to go from 06 into those next few years, and really you didn't leave the business, you just fought through those times and ended up here where you are now. Can you talk about those beginning 3 or 4 years?
Absolutely. So I got in when it was booming. I had a close friend of mine that was working into development just south of us, and they were killing it, and he was like, hey, you have all the intangibles to do this, go get licensed. So I, of course, did. It was actually the same year that our year after I just had my son, Noah, which is 13 now. And, it was time for me to decide. I came from a customer service industry in the restaurant hospitality world. So I was, working in restaurants, and which I kind of see a linear thing with real estate because, it's just helping people, but in a different aspect. And got licensed, started with a brokerage. And
I like that analogy. I want to touch on that, but keep going.
Yeah. So so I started with a brokerage, kind of like everyone else, and just got my feet in it, and got approached by a developer, and they were doing a 25 home subdivision, and it was a small builder, and they were looking for somebody to sit on site. I was brand new. They were offering kind of a salary position plus commission. So that was pretty safe for me because, my son's born. So I figured take the safe route, understand new construction a little bit, and did that. I had 85% of the development sold out and all under contract, pre-sold, and it happened. The fallout happened, and
those pre-sales started to reverse themselves.
They were gone. Every one of them lost. Every one of them. So it was back to the drawing board. They actually lost that development, and ended up selling several years later to Richmond American that ended up developing it out. But it was crazy. It was crazy to see how good it was and how quick it ended really quick. So I knew the business was for me. I love people. I love real estate. And I just knew that if I could just make it through those years that, everything comes in cycles. And I knew that. So we just kept plugging along. I just kept plugging along. I went back to an independent brokerage that they work at a lot of condo management. So being in St. Augustine, it is a very touristy. It's a tourist base. 65% of our economy is based on tourism. So,
and there's some college. I've never been to St. college stuff.
Flagler College is there, and we have UNF in Jacksonville. But 65% of tourism. The economy is based on tourism. So there was a lot of people from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut that were buying investment properties because you could get a condo for $150,000.
Sure.
Rent it out nightly and put, probably get 7 to 9% on your money. Back then, there was no banks paying anything. So it was a really, really solid investment. Now those condos are double, even better investment. So, I was getting leads from there, and it just slowly just started building it up.
I want to dig back into those years because I wasn't in sales. I lost my shirt. I don't know if you ever saw that Tom X talk that I did. I literally lost everything by my mid-20s, just based off of buying 3 homes from 19 to 21 during those years and making all the mistakes in the book, not knowing what I was doing, all that kind of stuff. So I knew the brokers in my area. I knew the agents just based off of looking at real estate and being in the game more from buying and looking at properties.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were an actual agent and you were in sales during that time, did you see, I'm always fascinated by this, did you see agents and top brokers not miss a beat? You were just starting off and you had that new development, and that's a very unique situation. Did you see top agents not miss a beat during that time where the economy didn't impact them?
There was one, definitely, I think 2 of the top producers that are still around today that were just had such a solid and solidified brand and were ingrained in there and kind of goes to where we are building now and trying to just forcefully have that brand that everyone recognizes and goes to.
Because everybody talks about, hey, the world fell apart and,
right.
and sales went down, and absolutely they did. But you can go back, I go back on my MLS and I look at those years, and you can go back on any MLS, and there were sales in the marketplace.
100%.
And we know that there is, not a potential for something that large scale, devastating to happen in our immediate future, but there is absolutely the potential for a recession, to hit real estate.
Some say we might be in one right
some
now,
people
like
think,
currently.
Right.
So
certainly, depending on what market, if you're in New York City, you might really be feeling those effects, which is why I think all of us believe in brands so much right now, right? You're a big believer in just building your local brand. I'm really trying to dig into that to make sure that my team, the people that I care about, are in the position of, we don't care what the market is. We don't care if the units went down 40%. We're going to get ours. What are you doing to set up your team for that?
Just anywhere and everywhere. I mean, I'm just so focused on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere that we can be at any time, giving market updates, anything that we can, that I just want the at-bats. Yeah. Somebody thinks about, hey, I'm going to sell my house. I want us to be the team because we do have such a dominant market share right now. And it's based on customer service. And we do the best job, in my opinion. Obviously, in my opinion, it's going to be the best, but truly
and you have number one market share in your market. So you are proving it in the numbers.
Yeah. But to go back to, just a brand on those individuals that made it, it wasn't any particular, big brand or little brand. It was that individual that really focused on their personal or team brand. There wasn't really teams back then, but
and in their community. You said service, customer service, and earlier you mentioned being in the restaurant business. To me, really good. The reason I like to go to like high-end, really fine dining establishments is because when you watch the way they work, they don't make mistakes. I mean, everybody makes mistakes,
sure,
but you have an experience sitting there that like, this is flawless. They're doing everything 100% correct. There's a whole entire team taking care of my table. I've always thought, I'm like, man, I want to get a workshop with like one of the best fine dining restaurants in my area with all my agents and like make them like literally go through a day of being waiters and staff and all this type of stuff. What are new agents, think about that, right? Okay. The restaurant business, and what are new agents missing when they're coming and looking for the right team or brokerage, right? Because if you're starting in the restaurant business, you're likely just taking the position that you're given. I see a lot of new agents making demands, looking at splits when they haven't done anything yet, or they're focused on the split, right? Can you tie that together a little bit for me?
Yeah, it's so crazy because you have new agents that come, that go through real estate school, which in my opinion should be a lot longer, especially in Florida. It's 64-hour class, and they understand how to keep themselves out of jail and to learn the laws, which are so important. And I'm so focused on making our industry better. But looking at when I interview somebody and they say, "Oh, I love houses," and
I love house. That's the worst.
And I'm just like, oh, okay, this is not good. You have to love people. You have to understand that this is the biggest financial decision that they're going to make. And one wrong, we talk about making a mistake in a restaurant. They can recook the food instantly. They can re-pour that. They can change the tablecloth. if you make a mistake, this could impact the family and their children for forever, and I think some people, when they get into the business, don't understand how serious it is. So I think it's important to look for a team or, a brokerage that has a very leader that's ingrained in it, that's in the office. I'm the first one in my office every day. I try to make sure that I'm on top of everything, what's going on in the industry, what's the new.
That's a great point, dude, because I think when I'm trying to make this comparison to a great fine dining establishment and a high-powered real estate team, the great chef is in their restaurant every single day, right?
Picking
not
their
every
fish.
single day, but
they'll send
there.
their fish back. They'll send the produce back. Absolutely. I worked in fine dining. They'll look at the produce as it comes in. If it doesn't meet their standards, they make them go get, that's why a lot of the restaurants now are doing it locally because they can get it right away.
Being in fine dining, many years ago, how much training, when I go, I've had the opportunity to go and sit in on a couple of meetings. I guess they would be, before dinner meetings. I don't know exactly what they're called.
Shift meetings, basically.
Okay.
Every day.
Shift meetings every day, right? And there are real estate teams out there that are struggling to have a meeting a week.
Right.
Right? Is that more on leaders just listening to their team and getting lazy with it? Like, we don't need to meet. We've got this. We don't need the training. We don't need all the reminders. Or is it more on the agents, just mailing it in?
I stand in front of my team every day. We do a 5-minute, meeting every day at 8:30, and my agents are trusting me. They're trusting me because their families are depending on them providing a life for them. So if they're going to believe in me, I have to deliver for them every day. I have to be on top of it. I have to put them in the right mindset to perform. Some of the best, the difference in some of the fine dining restaurants that I worked at, before their shift meetings, they would do things. The great restaurants that had the most accountability, they would, make you come in an hour earlier than any other restaurant. They would bring out the special that day. They would make sure you tasted the special so you could feel the experience that you're going to talk about to your table when you're delivering what they want you to sell that day. And if you don't, it's not reading off the thing, it's or what the description is, it's memorizing it, internalizing it. Same thing in real estate. What happens, when you're training, what a situation comes up. I think that's important for new agents to kind of understand that you need like real life training, and now I'm stepping it up even more with my team. I have them sending me a leveled up text every day saying what they're doing to better themselves, and I'm responding. I'm not letting them just give me these little, I watched this podcast or I read this. I'm actually digging a little deeper to understand like what they learned that day, and now I'm involving myself with them on an even deeper level, and it's been phenomenal. It's been kind of game changing for my team.
Dude, I'm really pumped that we went there in the restaurant thing, because I always think about that.
Yeah.
And to your point, the good ones are coming in an hour early. They're basically doing that training every single day. I believe in training every day, whether you're in real estate, restaurants, or something else. So that's pretty cool that you went there, dude. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, let's really dig into the new agent for a little bit.
Okay.
And then I want to talk about disruptors, and then we'll wrap this up. For a new agent that is focused on split as a team leader, now this could help unlock the mindset for a new agent right now. It could also help unlock some things for a team leader. So I think it's going to help a lot of people. When a new agent comes to you and they're focused on split, but they got potential, and you don't want to just quit on them because they're like, why are you talking to me about split? We're 50-50 or whatever you guys are, right? How do you get them to see the numbers, to really see the breakdown of there's no such thing as 100%. There's no such thing as 90%, because if you're going to run a business, if you're going to run a P&L, you're going to have expenses, and they're going to exceed 10%, 15%, 20%, right? How do you help new agents see that when they've never done a deal, when they've never been in an office, they're out of the package?
I think, just showing them what my agents are doing currently. They're selling 3 per month, and 100% or 90% of nothing is 90% of nothing. So
you show them other new agents, like a before and after almost photo in real estate.
Yeah, I mean, we have an 87% fail rate in the industry, and that's for a reason. Like, I'm like, hey, look at how many new agents have joined my team, which I'd say 80% of my team members are brand new agents.
Do you like brand new or or you got to fix them type of agents?
But I'll take both. I think we're at
Yeah.
the level. I love new agents, so because they, people that want to come in and they want to learn. I have agents their first 12 months in the business that'll exceed 30 homes. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
And
It's really unheard of.
And forget split. It's the bottom line and what they're able to make and what it's on their tax return. Like we get in this. We're the only industry we think about splits and stuff, but we need to just focus on what am I going to make this year? How am I going to make it? And I will get there. I'll meet agents where they are. If they want to make 70 grand, 75,000 is basically the minimum to be on the team for us. So, which is 2 deals a month. But
2 deals a month, 24 deals. Yeah.
Yeah, basically that's the standard. But everyone else is.
And 2 deals a month. I mean, think about
lot.
that. Well, I mean, it's a lot, and it's like I'm knowing a little bit about your team. Like, it's a lot, and it's not.
Right.
Because they're probably not doing a ton of administrative work and all this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I have a lot of team members that'll go to 10, 6, 8. There's just such a wide.
I think I heard on the TF podcast, your agents they don't even have time to lead generate because they have so many leads to work that you guys are supplying that it's like, so
no
when
open
you talk
houses.
Yeah. When you talk about no open houses, tell me about that. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Just, we've tried to schedule the open houses and do it. And it's just with the amount of lead volume that's coming in, they're constantly showing property and they're constantly, just on the grind. And it's
so their excuse of not having time is super legitimate because they're on showings.
And I want them to have that flexibility because they're working so hard. And at that,
so do you hire showing agents to do open houses, or do you just say to your sellers, we're not going to do open houses?
No, I mean, in our market right now, it's different. I mean, because a lot, you can argue both ways on why to do open houses. I won't dig into that, but in my market, if it's marketed correctly and it's priced according, with the market right now, it'll sell, and it'll sell with, with the right marketing package. So we really are, we're focused on that. We're selling that experience of the marketing and the experience on, contract to close, because I think a lot of people forget about how tough that, is on our side of, once it does get under contract to close, on how difficult that can be to navigate.
All right, before we get into some of the big news of the week and disruptors, I just want to ask you a quick selfish question. What do you think of the Florida market over the short term and let's call it the next 10 years? So the next 2 years to the next 10 years. I love Florida. It's my favorite state outside of Connecticut. I don't want my Connecticut peeps to get mad at me. But what do you see in the Florida market? I see
an exponential amount of growth happening, and it's going to continue for the next 10 years, especially. And I'll just speak for Jacksonville. It's so large, and there's so many sections of Jacksonville that's significantly undeveloped right now that has just so much potential. With, we have a great economy there based on the we have transit with the shipping. We have the Mayport Naval Base there. There's just so many opportunities I think you can get so close to there. Grade A schools systems in St. Johns County, where St. Augustine is located. So we keep winning best school awards.
That's like the big hit on Florida overall. Is the school thing.
Yeah. So I just think it's going to continue. You drive through Florida right now, and it's still very rural in a lot of parts. And I think, with the, no state income tax and just a lot of things that are driving people to us because of the significant savings that they're having, I think it's going to continue. I
mean, nothing is maybe forever, but do you think the no state income tax holds long term?
I sure hope so.
I know you do.
It was close. I mean, it was close. Our governor race was really tight, and it would have definitely changed that whole dynamic for sure. I think.
You think a new governor might have looked at that?
Yeah, it was basically, the Gillum that was running at that point, he was 100% going to implement it. So
wow. So you just never know.
You never know. So
all right,
there and vote.
On a yeah, right. There you go. On a macro level of real estate, I just want to pick your brain because you're somebody who has not only invested in yourself, in your team, right, in your agents and your brand, but you have invested in Zillow, for example, to get leads and other lead sources. And there's a lot of agents that'll sit on the bench. They won't ever try Zillow, and they'll complain about it, and they'll complain that Zillow's stealing all their business that they never even had, by the way. When you hear people talk about Zillow as a disruptor to our industry, do you believe that?
No, I don't see it, because look at, if they're a disruptor, then everybody's a disruptor, because they've just found a way to get their, get the public to their website to search for homes. And talking with everyone at Zillow, and, from the top, at the top levels, they are so focused on the customer service aspect that I think, people seem to forget, and they kind of sideline, because right now, with their algorithms and how they're scoring agents on conversations and working with them and how many homes we're selling and reviews, I think they are trying to put the customers first, which, going back to why, I got into the business, if we focus on the customer first, then there are no disruptors, as long as us as team leaders, our brokerages, are putting them first. So,
yeah. So some big news, and I agree with you, actually. I think most agents don't pick up their phone, and I mean, Zillow's numbers are right. Over 50% of agents don't pick up their phone. Mm-hmm. And to their point, they're a public traded company. They're running a business. People are not going to go on their site and they've used this analogy, right? If you ordered a package from Amazon, which we just did yesterday, we had a package delivered here to the hotel, Sam. And, had that package not shown up today, we probably would not go back to Amazon consistently every single day. Amazon made some ridiculously large news in our industry. I don't know if you saw it this morning. So they partnered with Realogy and all the Realogy brands. Essentially, they're going to generate leads through their platform, which we know has a large audience already, and now hand them off to Realogy through this partnership. A lot of the details of how exactly that's going to work out are not released yet. And, even talking to, texting, I'm on some group chats, and I'm sure you are too, with some Realogy peeps like, hey, what do you know? I don't know anything. You're hearing the news just like I am. Do you see Amazon as a disruptor, or do you see it as another Zillow, and it's going to be good for Realogy and bad for others?
Yeah, it's hard to say right now, because the details haven't been released. I mean, but they are Amazon. They always try to find, a way to do things at an amazing level. I found it interesting that they kind of partnered with somebody rather than creating their own experience. So I found that to be, I think, the most interesting point right now, because, Amazon hasn't really given up much control ever of what they're doing. They've been kind of the opposite. So to do that, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out long term.
That's a great point, because their experience now is in the hands of a C21 agent, Sotheby's agent, know, CB. Name your pick over there at Realogy, and so they're relying on an agent that they don't have any. That's a great point. Yeah. I mean, I actually did not think of it through that.
Yeah.
Through that
So
scope.
it's crazy, and we'll see, because we know they have the
they've got the platform.
They got the platform, the
sure.
money. They have the data, which everyone wants. So I mean, it'll be really interesting to see. And it'll be interesting to see Zillow, how they kind of maneuver through it. But Realtor.com, Zillow, that those people that like those specific sites will, I think, always tend to go there. We'll see.
Yep. All right, one last question. If you're a brand new out of the package agent,
okay,
what would you do in your first 12 months?
First 12 months, I would look for the highest producing team in your market that is hiring. Typically, they're always hiring, honestly, because they have the systems, they'll have the training. They're seriously investing into their agents, because hey, if they don't get, if you don't make money, they're not making money. So I think find somebody. I think you can learn a lot. I think if you find the right team with the right culture, you'll learn so much from the agents within that team. Like my team, they're always sharing. We have a group chat. They're sharing, about vacation rentals. It's so cool to see everyone helping each other. And I think sometimes it's hard if you go to a bigger place or a place that you're not in the office. And I think I would just look for that. Find somewhere. I'm a big fan of the office. If you're getting into the business, I would jump in. I would put yourself into the office every day. I know there might not be a lot to do, but just listening and hearing things going on around you, sponge it, take it all in.
Just being in the game.
Yeah.
I'm such a believer in that too, man. It blows my mind how many people are pushing virtual offices down new agents' throats, and it's like, how do you ever get in the game if you're not even on the bench?
You learn so much from deal doctoring to oh my gosh, I just heard him say that, so I'm going to say that, or
Yeah.
she did this and that was great. And it's crazy.
Showing up in real estate literally is like half the battle.
Right.
Show up every single day. Somebody's going to give you an
Treat
opportunity.
it as a 9 to 5. Just expect yourself to be a full-time job. Don't get sidetracked. Go into the office and just make it your day.
Dude, this is awesome. I hope I can make it up to, do you guys call it North Florida?
Yeah.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
North Florida?
North Florida.
I hope I can come up from Southwest Florida to North Florida.
You better.
One of these days.
You gotta
this
check it out.
winter.
It's awesome. I think you'll enjoy it.
I know. I want to check out what you guys are doing because it's very impressive, the numbers you're putting up. So if you want to get to know more about DJ, we're going to definitely, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to it, go over to the YouTube. Check out the description. We're going to have all the links over to DJ. Where do you want to get linked up? Instagram or something?
Instagram, DJ and Lindsay. So it's the DJ and Lindsay team. So DJ and A-N-D, Lindsay.
I know Lindsay didn't want to get on the podcast today, but go over to the Instagram. Check these guys out.
Yeah.
They are crushing it. Obviously, if you're thinking about getting a real estate in North Florida, these are the guys to link up with.
Yeah,
so.
check us out on Facebook too. Lindsay's always putting out amazing content. So thanks
Awesome,
for having
brother.
me. It's been awesome.
Thanks for taking the time. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video all the way to the end. I really appreciate all your engagement, all your comments, and if you like this content, if you want to see more, please, I've got 2 videos linked up here, or hit the subscribe button so that you never miss a video again.